Bioscience Department, Bishop Heber College, Tiruchirappalli. He is at present the consultant for NAC accreditation process and an external academic. He has a teaching experience of over 35 years, and his area of research is integrated control of mosquitoes, insects, toxicology. He has guided numerous MPhil students and has attended more than 100 conferences as a resource person. He has presented several papers, organized seminars, and was a resource person for several workshops. Among other achievements, he was the Dean of Sciences, Bishop Heber Colleges. Today, Dr. Selvam is going to talk on a very pertinent topic, one that affects us all: NAC accreditation process, new norms, and new challenges. It is our proud privilege to have you, sir, here with us today. Before I hand over the session to Dr. Selvam, I would like to remind the participants to submit your feedback after the session. After the session, you can also type out your questions in the chat box as you did on day one. Please do keep your mics muted and your video cameras off during the session. I now most humbly request Dr. Selvam to please take over. Thank you. Dr. Selvam? I request Dr. Selvam to please take over.
Sir, Selvam sir, please turn on your microphone.
Dr. Selvam, are you audible? Please do turn on your microphone. There seems to be a slight technical glitch. I request Dr. Selvam to please turn on your microphone and also your video.
Selvam sir, Dr. Selvam, this is the audio of the Google meeting that you have to turn on. The audio of this Google meeting you have to turn on.
Excuse me, Marin, sir has left, I think somehow. He's not there in the list now, the participant list. So just let's contact him.
Hello. Hello.
Selvam sir, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Hello.
Sir, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Sir,
Okay. Okay.
Selvam sir, please to turn on.
சாரின மைக்ரோஃபோன் ஆஃப்
Selvam sir,
அப்பா இது வரைக்கும்
there is an icon on your screen. Selvam sir, I request you to please turn on your microphone. There is an icon of a mic on your screen. Please do press it.
Yes.
Yeah, now it. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. We're very happy to have you here with us. And I repeat,
Yes, sir.
Selvam sir is going to talk on a very pertinent topic, a topic that in currency these days, national
Okay.
comes and new challenges.
ரோல் இருக்கு இதெல்லாம் அப்பா வந்து
Selvam sir, are we?
Is it okay. Are you able to hear me?
Hello, are we audible, sir? Selvam sir, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, are you able to see my slide now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Back, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I can.
Hello.
Hello. I can hear you, sir. Please. Please.
Hello.
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 Yes, sir. I can hear you very clearly.
Are you able to see my slide now?
Yeah, you are audible. You are very much audible, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. You are very much
Yeah, I
audible.
said, are you able to see my slide now?
Yeah, I can see your
Hello.
face also.
Are you able
You're
to see
very
my
much.
presentation? Yes, yes, you are
Yeah,
audible.
sir.
Yes,
You are
yes, sir,
audible.
you can start.
What I want is, are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, sir, you can present your slides now, sir.
Are you able to see my presentation? Hello.
Hello. Hello, sir. You are audible. Your
Okay.
face is also seen. You can begin your presentation.
Hello. Hello. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yeah, please do begin your presentation, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Are you able to see my presentation?
No, sir, it is not
Okay,
now
shall I go on
visible.
now?
It's not now visible, sir.
But
The
what
slides
about
are
my
not
video?
visible.
Are you able to see my presentation?
We are able to
Okay,
see
are
only
you able to
you.
see the
We
presentation?
cannot see your presentation.
Pardon?
We cannot see the presentation. Please use the present
Okay,
button,
that's
sir.
fine. Okay, that's fine. A very good morning. Okay, now. A very good morning to everyone. I am very happy to be associated with Hello? Yes, yes, I am now starting. I am starting. Okay. A very good morning to everyone, and I am very happy. Yes, I am beginning, sir. I am not telling. Hello? Hello? A very good morning to everyone.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Not visible.
Good morning, sir. All the mics are muted.
Okay,
So
I'll try again. I'll try again.
yes, sir. You can begin your presentation. You can continue.
Okay. English. Okay. The problem is many people are trying to join also. That's the thing.
Yes, sir. But right now, you're quite audible.
Wait.
You can.
Yes. Hello.
Hello? Selvam, sir, you can continue with your presentation. Hello?
I was taking everything ready.
Hello, Selvam, sir, you can continue with the presentation. You are quite audible.
Hello, are you able to see my presentation now? Okay. Are you able to see my
Sir, we can't see your presentation. We can only see your face.
No.
Oh, no, not yet. Not yet.
Are you able to see the slides now?
No.
Hello.
No, sir.
Are you
We
able to see
can
my
see your
slides,
face.
sir?
No slides.
Sir, can you please
we-
Hello.
the present now
Dr.
button? The
Hello.
present now button.
Hello.
Sir, if you could press the present now button, things could work out. I think Selvam sir is left. Marin,
Yeah, I
Marin ma'am,
cannot
Selvam sir is left. It
see
seems.
him now.
Yeah, you help him out with that
Yeah, I think there is
technical
a
issue.
network problem with him.
I think he's not able to make the presentation. Maybe you could help him out with that.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So participants, please wait for a few minutes. Let's hope he will join soon.
So in this technology-enabled world of teaching and learning, these are the few things that we'll have to learn to live with. So the good and the bad, both will be learning experiences for all of us. Let's hope we can connect to Selvam sir soon. It seems as if patience and empathy shall be the buzzwords for this tech-enabled learning for the times to come. For those who have joined late, we are waiting. There is a connectivity issue. We're waiting for a resource person to join us. He was here, but due to certain technology constraints, we are not able to get in touch with him. Hopefully, the issue shall be resolved soon.
Participants, please turn off their video also. That will ensure better broadcast of the program. All the participants kindly turn off their video.
This is for the people in the chat box, for the participants who are worried that the audio is not heard and the video is not seen. There is a technical issue. We are trying to connect with our resource person, and we shall be back soon. So please do stay on.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Selvam, sir.
Hello,
Your
sir. The
microphone
problem
is
is, I get a message that there are so many. Hello.
Hello, sir. Please switch on your microphone, Selvam, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, yes, yes, I am trying. I am trying. I will do it.
Now it's audible, sir.
Now
Please.
it's okay, no? Now it's okay, I think.
Yeah, it's okay. Audio is okay.
The problem is, I have a message that there are many people who are trying to join at the same, and my thing is not working. That's the thing. Okay, okay. I'll try to proceed it now.
Yes, sir.
Today we had a rehearsal and it was working fine. Now wait for a minute. Wait for a
Okay, sir.
minute. I'm trying to follow my presentation. Yeah. Is it visible now? Hello?
So the slide is not visible.
Hello, sir.
This is seen. Slides are not visible. Only
Hello?
no slides not visible.
Hello?
Hello, slide. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello? Is it my
Hello,
present is visible
the slide is not.
now?
No.
Hello? Hello, sir.
Not visible.
Hello, sir. My presentation is visible now.
Sir.
Hello?
Sir, the slide is not visible.
Hello?
This is seen. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Selvam sir. Hello, Selvam sir. Kindly try to share your slides.
I think even we are not audible to him.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, I'm able to hear now. Yes, sir.
Sir, please try
Yes,
to
sir.
share your slides. Present your.
I'm able to hear you, sir. Yes, I'm trying. Wait. Wait, sir. Yes. Yes, I hear you. I'm trying to get into the presentation mode. Yes, sir. I'm hearing you, sir. Wait. Yes, sir, I'm hearing you, sir. Wait. No. Wait. Wait, sir. I'm hearing you, sir. But the thing is, there is some technical issues which is not working. The screen is not visible to me. Wait. Wait. Yes, madam. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. I'm trying. Please hold on for a minute. Yes, sir. I'm able to hear you, sir. Wait. I'm trying to open the presentation. Something went wrong. I had two other webinars 2 days back. Everything went well. This is not creating some kind of issues. Yes, no. Open it now. Wait. Please wait. very approximate.
We apologize for the delay in beginning the session. Certain technical issues, connectivity, I believe.
Sir, you can postpone the program due to technical problem.
Maybe we could do one thing. There are around 138 participants right now. All of us are quite competent. People from across the country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from the west to the east. So why don't we do some brainstorming on this topic? If anyone wants to say anything, I would like the other organizers to intervene. And should we have it via the microphone, or should we do it in the chat box? Brainstorming. What do you say, Lynette ma'am and Marin ma'am?
The chat box would be better, sir.
Okay. Okay. So anybody, I mean, all the participants are requested to please let us brainstorm on this topic in the chat box while we wait for the connectivity issue to be resolved. We are hoping that it should be resolved soon. And meanwhile, let us hear from across the length and the breadth of the country. It should be interesting. Meanwhile, the news from Selvam sir is that he should be back in around 10 to 15 minutes, and he's seeking some technical help, and is sure that he should be able to join us in 10 to 15 minutes. So the next 15 minutes, let us talk to each other, know each other, coming from different parts of our country. Let us try and maybe if not on this topic, on anything connected to higher education, if anyone wants to express anything on the, you can do so in the chat box, and the organizers shall read it out for the benefit of the other participants, if it has to be read out, that is. There is a suggestion from Mr. Sajeev that the one who wants to present should be allowed to do so. So if anyone wants, so let us do it one after the other. There is a question from Mr. Suresh Kumar as to why should there be changes in formats and guidelines in NAC every 6 months? You can answer this, or if anyone wants to share your experience on NAC accreditation, the colleges who have already been through the process, especially the latest one, if you want to share your experience, please do message us in this chat box. Maybe we could allow you to speak. Let us zero in on this topic, the topic of NAC accreditation. If anyone wants to share his or her experience on the NAC accreditation process, the latest one, maybe we could allow that person to speak. Please do express your willingness in the chat box, willingness to speak. We could allow the person to speak. Mr. Suresh Kumar from Bharati Darshan College for Women, Puducherry, had raised this question as to why should there be changes in formats and guidelines in NAC every 6 months. Mr. Suresh Kumar, would you like to talk to us? If so, please do. You can do that. You can switch on your microphone and you can talk to the other participants. Mr. Suresh Kumar? Mr. Suresh Kumar, if you want to say something, you can do that. You can switch on your microphone and talk to us.
Hello, sir. Good morning to everyone.
Morning.
No, I just want to know because I don't know why recently we are trying to apply for NAC in our college. So we are filling this AQR forms which were offline earlier. Now it has become online. So there were so many changes. Whatever the offline mode is completely irrelevant today. So we have to redo the whole thing again and again. So that's what I'm so worried about. If it changes within 3 months or 4 months, we have to redo the whole thing, which is of no use. So please, I don't know what is the rationale behind it. That's what I want to know. So I don't know what much to say. Not much to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would request our IQAC coordinator, Ranjit sir, to respond if it is. Ranjit sir, are you there? Or if any of the participants wants to, I think Ranjit sir is probably trying to get in touch with Selvam sir. If any of the participants, senior teachers who have been through the process, would like to respond, we can use this platform right away. Ranjit sir is here. Sir?
Question asked by, I hope I'm audible. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
The question asked by Mr. Suresh Kumar is a very pertinent question. What he said was, there has been often revision of the guidelines given by NAC for the submission of the AQAR, the Annual Quality Assurance Report? That's a very pertinent question because earlier the AQAR was submitted offline. That is, we could do that at any point of time. But now the AQR has to be submitted online. And once we submit the data, there is no scope for any editing on that matter. One very important thing regarding the AQR, he asked why this revisions. I think the NAC wants to ensure that the activities undertaken by the college is has credibility and it is authentic, so that every year whatever programs conducted by the college will be entered in that present year itself, and there will not be any lag in the submission or any falsification of data. So I think am I audible?
Hello, sir. You're very much audible, sir. Please
Okay. So my answer to what Suresh Kumar told is this: that when the AQAR is submitted online, it is possible to ensure the credibility, the authenticity of the data that is submitted, so that colleges will not be able to maybe edit the data that they have already submitted. And the point I would like to make is authenticity is the basis for which they are strictly asking us to submit the AQAR data in that year itself. Anyway, this is a very important question that all colleges have to be aware of such things. About the AQAR, I think most of the teachers working in the college, I think most of us are not aware that an AQAR has to be submitted, and that they have to keep all records. Even the IQAC meetings have to be submitted online, and it has also to be uploaded on the IQAC website. So the AQAR has become a very important part of the NAC accreditation process, and it is also, you will find that anymore, you will find in future, it is not possible for any colleges to avoid or to lag in submitting the AQAR. That has to be done then and there within the given period of time. That is my knowledge about this AQAR. So in future, I think every college has to be aware. Every college has to take.
Hello, sir.
I'm happy now we have Mr. Selvam sir back.
Hello. Okay, I'll now make a presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Are you able to see the slide now, sir? Are you able to see the slide now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now your thing is audible. Your presentation is visible now.
Okay, thank you. Hello, kindly ask others to mute for this. Okay? Am I audible and visible now? Okay. A very good morning to you. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Hello? Now you are visible and audible. Thank you, sir. Welcome, Selvam, sir.
Thank you very much. A very good morning to everyone. I am very sorry for the technical inconvenience caused to you. Well, I am very happy to be associated with this webinar series being organized by the prestigious Bishop Moore College, Mavalikara, and I thank the IQS team for the invitation to be part of the webinar series. Well, today I would like to discuss on the NAC accreditation process, the new norms and the new challenges. For the benefit of my young friends who are new to the process, let me tell you about the origin of NAC. NAC is actually an autonomous body established in the year 1994 by the UGC, with its headquarters at Bangalore. Now, the primary role of NAC is to make an assessment and evaluate the quality of education being imparted across the country in the higher education institutions, namely the universities and colleges. And this is being done by a process, and that is called as the accreditation process. You should know that even as way back as 2013, the UG has actually, through a gazette notification, made it compulsory for all the higher education institutions to go the accreditation process. In spite of this, the notification by the UGC, even today, there are thousands of colleges and hundreds of universities in India which are yet to go for accreditation. Now, there are many questions in the minds of many people. After all, I am appointed by the management and I do my job and I get paid by either the government or the management. Why should I bother about the accreditation? Why should NAC interfere in our regular functioning and teaching and other things? So there are many questions in the minds of people about why should we go for accreditation? Kindly remember that there are many benefits of accreditation. To start with, you get to know about your strength, weakness, and opportunities through an informed review process. See, this is the time where we are trying to assess about where exactly we stand. What are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? And what are the various opportunities and threats that we are having as a college? So this will give you an idea about where exactly we stand at the point of going for the accreditation process. And this actually helps the colleges to go for planning and resource allocation. See, as a college, we want to grow. We want to introduce many programs. We want to have more students. We want to have more buildings and all. So all these things that require a lot of planning and resources have to be allocated accordingly. And this process of assessing where you are by going through the process will help you to plan for your future. And the third advantage that you get is the collegiality on the campus. That is to say, this is the time where everyone in the college comes together as a team. Kindly remember that this accreditation process is actually a teamwork. No single individual can make a claim that I am responsible for the college getting the A grade or A+. Out and out, it is a teamwork. So through this accreditation process, you get to know about your colleagues from the other departments, and that brings about a comradeship or friendship among the faculty member, which is good for the college. And another important aspect why we should go for accreditation is the funding agencies look for objective data for performance funding. See, when we are running the colleges, primarily we depend upon the funds from the governments and the funding agencies for our growth. Of course, in the aided colleges, the salary is being paid by the government, and for the development of the college, by way of having more buildings, more equipments, you need to have funds from the funding agencies. Managements may not be in a position to spend such a lot of money on creating more and more infrastructure. They may help you to a certain extent, but by and large, colleges can make a real growth only by getting the funds from the funding agencies. Now the issue is, governments and funding agencies are not willing to spend more money on higher education. That is the reality which you have to understand. No longer the governments are willing to spend more money on higher education. That is the reality. You will come across the situations where the funding agencies have almost stopped giving you grants for the various projects. So only when you are good, you'll get the funds from the funding agencies. Days are gone where everybody is eligible for getting the major and minor projects. Now the days are not far away where you will get funds only if you are proving that you are a good college by getting the A grade or A+ grade. The UGC may say that if you are not A grade college, you are not eligible for minor projects. And already the block grants for various funds are decided based on your grades as well as your NIF ranking. So kindly understand that as a college, when you really want to grow, you need funds from the funding agencies. And funding agencies are now linking your performance, whether you are good or bad. And that is how the funds are being decided by the funding agencies. And also institutions to initiate innovative and modern methods of pedagogy. This is another important area of going through the process of accreditation that the college stand to gain. So by this process, where NAC insists that you should have so many classrooms, smart classrooms, you should have LCD facilities, you should go for ICT technology. See, it's out and out. This NAC is insisting for modernization of the educational methodology across the country. And thanks to the infrastructure that is built at least to some extent by the insistence of this NAC accreditation process, now we are able to have these kinds of webinars. So innovative modern methods of teaching is possible only when we go for this accreditation process. And this also ultimately will give a new sense of direction and identity for the institution. And not only that, the society also looks for reliable information on the quality of education offered to them. See, you have to prove the students and the parents that you are good. When a student joins your college, he will be getting the best out of the college, and that has to be told in clear terms to the colleges, to the parents and students, so that they join the college. After all, the college exists only for the benefit of the students, and if there are no students, there are no colleges. So the days are not far away where the students will demand a certain kind of quality before they try to join your institution. And already this is now reflecting in many states like Kerala, where the students have the choice. They only decide whether they can join a particular college or not. So you have to prove that you are good so that the students can join your college and get educated in your college. And also, prospective employers look for reliable information on the quality of education offered to the prospective recruits. In the arts colleges, it's not happening in a big way, but even for a little amount of campus placement that is possible, you have to prove to the prospective employees that you are educating your students in such a way that they are employable. And finally, there is the possibility of intra and inter-institutional interactions. So when you go for this accreditation process, this should open a new avenue for you to go along with the other departments, other institutions, other industries to go for many of the MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding. And these are some of the benefits that we gain by going for the accreditation process. So kindly understand that the days are such that essentially all the colleges have to go for accreditation, whether you like it or not, because our survival as a college will ultimately depend upon you getting accredited, not just getting accredited, but you getting accredited with a good grades such as A+ or A++, so that you are ultimately will be able to survive as a college in the days to come. So these are some of the benefits that will ultimately make it to essentially go for this accreditation process. Now, let me tell you about the basic eligibility that a college needs to go for the accreditation process. See, in order to get accredited, a college should have a minimum eligibility of having 2 batches of students sent out to the college, or minimum 6 years of existence, whichever is earlier. So this is the basic eligibility for a college to go for accreditation. Unless you are 6 years old, or unless you have sent out 2 batches of undergraduate students out of your college, you cannot go for accreditation. So this is the basic eligibility. Of course, you should also have been affiliated to a university recognized by the UGC for the purpose of affiliation. So this is the second condition which is required for a college to go for accreditation. That is, you should be affiliated to a university. Even if you are an autonomous college, you should be affiliated to a university which is recognized by the UGC for the purpose of affiliation. And also, at the time of you going for accreditation, you have to give all the details about the college to the portals of All India Survey on Higher Education, which will then give you a number. And this reference number, this IS code, is one of the basic requirements that is required for a college to get registered before they go for the accreditation process at the time of accreditation. So the basic eligibility for a college is to have a 6 years existence or 2 batches of students, and they should have been affiliated to a university, and so they should also get registered in the portals of All India Survey on Higher Education. Now, what are the new things in the revised accreditation framework? I told you earlier that the NAC is carrying out this assessment process by a mechanism which is called as the accreditation process. And in tune with the demands of the time, it is being revised from time to time. And the last revision was done in July 2017. And this is now referred as the revised accreditation framework. Now, this revised accreditation framework, which was introduced with effect from July 2017, represent an explicit paradigm shift. Please understand that there are significant changes in the way you will get assessed in the revised accreditation framework effective from July 2017. Why? It is because it is making it ICT enabled, it is objective, it is transparent, scalable, and robust. So these are some of the significant changes which have been incorporated in the revised accreditation framework introduced in July 2017. Let me list out some of the most significant changes that you'll have to understand before you go for the accreditation process. The first and foremost change that you'll have to note down is, from a quality-based peer judgment, there is a quantity-based judgment in the revised accreditation framework. This is the single most important difference that the colleges have to understand in the revised accreditation framework. So earlier, before July 2017, what had happened? A college which was willing to go for accreditation has to prepare a document, and this document is called as a self-study report, shortly known as the SSR. This has to be sent to the NAC. NAC in turn would give this document to a team called the peer team, consisting of a vice chancellor, a professor from the university, and a principal of a college. So this team is given the responsibility of going through the document and then physically visit the college, interact with the various stakeholders, and make a judgment about how far what all you have stated in the SSR is true, and then they are accredited by giving a suitable grade. So the old method, the whole format was primarily a quality-based peer judgment. Now what had happened is there is a significant shift towards the way you are getting evaluated in the revised framework. Now it is mostly based on the data that you submit as a college. It's the quantitative information that a college submit that forms the basis for you getting a good grade or not. So please understand that there is a shift from qualitative-based judgment to quantity-based judgment. And secondly, another important change in the revised accreditation framework is the entire methodology of processing is said to be ICT-enabled one. And this is to help with scalability as well as the robustness of the methodology process. Please understand that earlier, the SSR is a physical document. And now, in the revised accreditation framework, right from the beginning of you getting into the process by submitting your IAQA, namely the Institutional Information for Quality Assessment, that is the beginning of the accreditation process. From the point of you submitting the IAQA, which will initiate the accreditation process, till the end of the process, the whole process, but for the peer team visit, is completely computerized. You're never coming to physical contact with any individual or anyone in the NAC. So the whole process is to be ICT-enabled methodology, but for the peer team visit. This is the second significant change which you have to understand in mind when you go for the accreditation process. The third important change is there is a simplification of the process. There is also a great reduction in the number of the questions, size of the report, and the number of visitors, and so on. See, this is actually a time-bound process. You have to understand that unlike the Word format where you could take any length of time to submit your SSR, NAC in turn would take any length of time to send a peer team. Sometimes the college has to wait even for 1 year to get accredited, but no longer that is the case. The revised accreditation framework is a process which is a time bound. From the moment you log into your system to submit your IAQA till the entire process out, it is a time bound process. For every stage in the process, there is a limitation of the time within which it has to be over. So this is the best advantage that the colleges get out of this revised accreditation framework. So there is a greater reduction in the duration of the whole accreditation process, which is to the advantage of the colleges. Now, there are many other new things that are introduced in the revised accreditation framework. One such thing is called the System Generated Score, SGS. What is the System Generated Score? Remember that primarily the judgment is based on the quantity data that you submit. What happened to the data that you submit to the NAC? Now it is being processed by a third-party agency which is appointed by the NAC, and this agency has the responsibility of completely processing your data and come out with a final score, and that score is called as the System Generated Score. So please understand that the quantity data that is you are submitting will be subjected to digital processing by a third-party agency, which will come out with a score called the System Generated Score. This is based on the evaluation of the 70% of the information that you are submitting as a part of SSR, and only the rest of the 30% will be judged by the peer team when they visit you toward the end of the process. So basically, it is the quantity-based judgment, and that will be responsible for generating a score called the SGS. Now, what is the importance of this SGS? See, this SGS is significant in the sense that Only when you score a minimum of 25% system-related score, you become eligible for the peer team visit. So this is another important point the colleges have to bear in mind. See, unlike the world format, when a college is submitting a SSR, definitely you could expect the peer team, get assessed and get some kind of grade. But no longer that is the case. See, this revised active framework is actually having many stages. And what is the situation is, only if you clear one stage, you can go to the next stage. So this is actually having lot of conditions, and only if you fulfill those conditions, you can move from one stage to the another stage. So in order to have the peer team in your college, you should have a minimum of 25% of system generated score. Here I would like to tell one important point. Though this revised active framework was introduced in July 2017, now we are almost 3 years old when it was introduced in July 2017. But from the time of its introduction, there were quite complicated issues to be faced by the colleges. In fact, it was very unfortunate for those colleges which had to go for accreditation in the early stages of 2017 or 2018, because the conditions laid in those early stages were so strict and quite complicated that many of the colleges failed to cope up with the demands made by the system, and they were able to get only a very poor grade or poor score. So from time to time, NAAC is actually changing its guidelines, and some of the significant changes have been incorporated, and a new set of guidelines have been introduced with effect from 1st January 2020. So what I am now suggesting to you is based on the latest observations which were introduced with effect from 1st January 2020. For example, before the 2020 January, you should have a minimum of 30% of SGS to have the peer team. Now it has been reduced to 25% changes. And please understand that what now I am presenting is not the final conditions and the guidelines. From time to time, the guidelines are being changed by the NAAC, and it is the responsibility of the IQC coordinator of the colleges to go to the website regularly and get updated about the new changes that are being introduced from time to time. So as of now, a college should have a minimum of 25% of SGS to have the peer team. Now, here another important introduction in the revised active framework is the role of the third-party agencies. In the world format, there are no third-party agencies. You submit the document is given to the peer team comes to college, make an assessment, you get the degree, you get the grade. But now what happens now, in the process of the accreditation process, NAAC is roping in the third-party agencies for 3 different purposes. So this is something new in the accreditation process, which was not earlier. The third-party agencies are involved in processing your quantity data. They are involved in a new concept called the student satisfaction survey, and they are also involved in verifying the publications which are given by the faculty members of a college. So there are 3 areas where NAAC is employing the outside agencies during the process. And with effect from January 1st, 2020, please understand that earlier there are only 3 categories of higher education institutions, namely universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated colleges. But with effect from 1st January 2020, the affiliated colleges are further divided into 2 categories, namely UG colleges and PG colleges. How do you know that you are a UG college or a PG college? See, if you have just even one postgraduate program in your college, you are a PG college. Only if you are exclusively offering only undergraduate program, then you are an undergraduate college. There's not much difference between a UG affiliated college and a PG affiliated college. There are only slight differences, but you are different categories. So you have to know that whether you are coming under a UG affiliated college or a PG affiliated colleges, and accordingly you have to prepare your SSR in such a format so that you are not having any issues at the time of the accreditation process. And also, another important change in the revised accreditation framework is enhance the participation of the students and the alumni in the assessment process. See, in the whole format, when the peer team visits the college, they would have an interaction with the present students, alumni, PTA, and so on. And the perception of these different stakeholders of a college were informally considered by the NAAC team in their assessment process. But now NAAC thinks, after all, a college exists only for the benefit of the students. So what you are in the eyes of your own students, that has to be significantly considered in the accreditation process. So NAC has introduced a new concept called the student satisfaction survey, which is brought into the process. Similarly, the role being played by the alumni is also brought into the process. So these are some of the new developments in the revised accreditation framework, which all the colleges have to have in mind before they start going for the accreditation process. Now, I'll go into the process of the accreditation. See, there are 3 stages in the accreditation process. Unlike the old format, I told you, you submit a document, immediately you could expect the peer team. But now, it has been done in 3 different stages. The first stage is the college is submitting 2 important documents. One is the institutional information for quality assessment that is to be followed by the main document, namely the self-study report. So that is the first stage. And in the second stage, there are 2 important things that will be happening to your process, namely the student satisfaction survey will be undertaken by an agency. There will be another agency which will be involved in verifying and validating the data that you submitted as a part of your SSR. And if you are able to have a minimum of 25% of SGS, you move into the third stage where you could expect the peer team. And finally, all the 3 different sources of marks will be put together and you'll get the final grade. So kindly understand that now the RAF is done in 3 different stages. Now, in the first stage, what is happening now? When a college is willing to go for accreditation, it has to make a submission of an application which is called as the IAQA, namely Institutional Information for Quality Assessment. So that is the beginning of the application process. So once you start submitting your IAQA in the portals of the NAC using your username and password, you will be guided in steps to fill up the IAQA. And this is what will happen in the IAQ application process. You'll be asked to give some basic institutional eligibility, whether you are affiliated to which university or are you getting that recognition by the UGC and all other things. And you have to ensure that you are providing all the basic information as per the format given in the NAC portal. Then also you have to make it clear that are you complying with the statutory regulatory authorities, and then that is to be followed by the academic data inputs, wherein you are giving the details about your programs, your students' details, and your faculty details, and so on. And all these have to be supported by uploading essential documents. And finally, you make the payment. See, the whole process has to be done wherein you make payments in 3 different stages. The first payment has to be made when you are submitting your IAQA. So once you submit your IAQA by paying the payment, what will happen now? This will be processed by the Central Application Processing Unit of NAC. So NAC has got this unit which will process your IAQA, and this will be coming out with 2 possibilities. One is your IAQA is accepted or your IAQA is not accepted. So if your IAQA is accepted, you are now eligible to submit your SSR. Please understand that only upon successful application of your successful submission of your IAQA, you become eligible for SSR. So what happens when you are not able to successfully submit your IAQA for some reason? NAC will send it back to you, citing that you have made certain mistakes, correct them and send it again. And now you could do so, and then if everything is ordered, your IAQA will be accepted and you will be allowed to submit your SSR. Suppose again if you have made a mistake, it will be sent back to you for the 3rd time, and for some reason, if you are making a mistake again, then your IAQA will be rejected. Please understand that altogether, a college will be given 3 chances to successfully submit your IAQA so that you become eligible for submit your SSR. Suppose if you are failing to successfully submit your IAQA within 3 attempts, the money that you paid is lost and you have to make a fresh application. It's not something very difficult. You will be definitely guided. There are guidelines given by you. All that is required is you have to carefully fill all the details that are required and submit all the document evidences in support of your information, and it will be accepted by the NAC so that you are now eligible to submit your SSR. But for some reason, if a college fails to submit the IAQA successfully within 3 attempts, you have to go back to square one. Now, you have successfully submitted the IAQA, then NAC will inform you, now you are eligible to submit your SSR. Kindly remember that unlike the whole format wherein it is a physical document, the SSR has to be submitted only online. So this is a new thing that you have to understand. Unlike the whole format, it is now to be done online. SSR to be submitted online. But how long you will get to submit your SSR? Kindly remember that once your IAQ is accepted, you will be notified that you will be given at the maximum as of now about 30 to 40 days time only to submit your SSR. So this is a very important information that you have to understand before thinking of going for accreditation. I honestly request all the colleges to understand that unlike the whole format, which is quite easy, this revised accreditation framework is quite complicated, and you have to do a thorough preparation of your documents before thinking of going for accreditation. So what is the point is, you should have all the required documents, all the required information with the relevant document evidences, and have everything ready before you think of going for accreditation process. Let me repeatedly tell you that this is very, very important information that all the colleges which are thinking of going for accreditation have to have in their minds. Don't try just like that. Don't think that let us start with IAQA. Somehow you'll have time to collect information and prepare your SSR. It won't work. So please understand that first you have to prepare your SSR, have all the details, all the document evidences, and then you have to think of going for preparing your IAQA and then submit your IAQA. Because once you log in and then submit your IAQA, the countdown will begin. You will not get any extended time. As of now, it is only 30 to 40 days time. But depending upon some external situation like this COVID-19 situation, you may get more time. But in an ordinary ways, you'll get only about 30 to 40 days. So please understand that you should be completely ready with SSR before you think of going for the accreditation process. Now, this is giving an outline about the SSR submission process. As I told you, there are two kinds of information that you'll have to give, mostly quantitative data and less of the qualitative information by way of description. So you'll have to fill all the details of the various metrics which are required in the SSR and upload all the data files as per the templates. I'll give more details about the significance of filling up the data templates. So you'll have to answer all the questions that are asked in the SSR, and you'll have to submit all the document evidences for various questions for which you have answered, and then now you have to make the second payment. Remember that you made a payment earlier before your IAQ is subjected to processing. Now you are expected to make the second payment by which your SSR will be processed. And before you submit your final SSR, you have the option to go for selecting some of the non-applicable metrics, which again I will come to the later on. And finally, you submit your SSR. Once you make the payment and opted out of some of the metrics as non-applicable metrics, then you are now actually entering into the second stage called the processing stage. Here, as you could see in the figure, there are three things that would happen to you. All the data that you have submitted will be subjected to an agency who is called as the DVV partner, data verification and validation partner. So this agency is responsible for processing the complete quantity metric that you submit as a part of your SSR. There is another agency which is involved in the SSS process, namely Student Satisfaction Survey process. So immediately after you submit your SSR, randomly selected students will be subjected to a survey that is called as the Student Satisfaction Survey, and that will be done by a second agency. There is also a third agency, InfluentNet, which is now concerned with the verification of your publication. See, now NAC is giving that a list of journals called the UGC CAR list, and it is important that whatever publication that you make has to be within this list of journals. Then only you and your college can get some score out of your publication. So that verification has to be done by the InfluentNet. So there are three agencies, all three external agencies are involved in the SSR verification, and finally SSR will be updated with inputs from all the agencies, and then it will be given to the NAC. So this is what happens in the SSR submission process. Now, while you submit your SSR, there are some things that you have to have in mind. Say for every question which we call as a metric, there is a response that you have to submit by way of answer, And as far as possible, please see to that your response is within that 5 MB data. So the NAC portal could actually accept only an answer which is less than 5 MB data. So to the extent possible, you'll have to upload the data in the NAC website as far as possible. Suppose if your document size is exceeding the 5 MB data, then what is to be done is you have to upload this information on your website of the college as a link. Please understand that when you upload this data in your college website as a link, the link should not be having any password protection. And also more importantly, the moment the DV partner clicks the link, automatically the link should open. So actually colleges are making the mistake of either protecting their link with the password, or this link may lead to another link. Don't do that mistakes. So when you are uploading your answer, which is exceeding 5 MB data in your college website, there are 2 conditions. The first condition is there should be no password used by you. The second thing is the link should be directly opening and giving the required information, and it should not lead to another link. So kindly avoid these mistakes while you are submitting your data, which is exceeding 5 MB data in the college website. And what is more important is you have to provide the supporting documents during the SSR submission to facilitate speedy DV clarification process. See, this is something which is very important that colleges have to understand. Many colleges have failed in understanding this, and they have come across a lot of issues during the process. See, unlike the Word format where you have all the evidences with you in your college, in your departments, now when you are going through the process, whatever may be your claims, all the claims have to be supported by documentary evidences which have to be uploaded. This is the major issues that the colleges are now facing. It is actually a Herculean task for a college to submit all the documentary evidence. You may have to upload hundreds of documents as a way of evidences while you are submitting your SSR. For example, if you say that hundreds of your students have joined a PG program in various colleges, it is your responsibility to get either the admission card or the ID card of all the 100 students and upload them as evidences. So all your claims have to be supported by documentary evidences, which should not be kept just in your department or in your office, but all the documentary evidences have to be uploaded to the agency at the time of you submitting your SSR. And this is the most important point that the college have to understand, that you cannot make any claim without the documentary evidences. If you do so, it will be rejected. It will not be counted by the DV partner as a number. So it is mandatory to fill the templates in the format provided by NAC and attach the same in the SSR. See, this is another important point that all the colleges have to understand. That's why I actually marked in red. See, there are 2 kinds of information the college is submitting as a part of SSR. One kind of information is called as the qualitative metrics. The other kind of information is called as the quantitative metrics. So when you are giving the quantitative metrics as a part of your SSR, NAC is giving you a format in the form of Excel. So the colleges are expected to fill the templates in the format provided by the NAC and attach the same in the SSR. What is more important is you are not supposed to alter the format in which the data is stored in the template. This is another major mistake the colleges are doing. Colleges have to see that they are actually using the current set of Excel templates, because again the NAC is changing the guidelines, so also the Excel template formats are modified. The number may be changing, the format may be changing. So before you actually go for a accreditation process, you need to go to the NAC portals and check you are having the latest set of templates and fill all the details as per the latest Excel templates. You should not try to alter the format, and then it will be creating problems for the DV partner to process it. And another thing is, while you are uploading your documents, please ensure that it is clearly readable so that the claims to be considered. So when you are scanning the document and uploading it, please ensure that the DV partner is able to read it clearly so that he is able to accept it as an evidence. And again, when you are uploading the data which is exceeding 5 MB, the data has to be both in the NAC portal as well as in the higher education institution website. Now, another important point that you have to understand is you are submitting the data to the NAC as a part of SSR. It may be either in the HE website or in the NAC portal. But once you make the final submission, of SSR, then you should not alter the data. At the final submission of your data, just because the data is in your college website, you cannot go to the website and alter the data, because such incidents will be viewed very seriously as misappropriation of data and may lead to action against the institution. See, this is another major mistake the college may do it. So once you make the final submission of the data, it cannot be touched by you, even though it is available in your college website or in the NAC portal. So you have to check, recheck, and see that you are only giving accurate information at the time of submitting the data. And another thing is, suppose if your document is in the regional languages, either in Malayalam or in Tamil, then it can be translated in English and duly signed by the principal of your college, and you'll have to upload both copies, the original as well as the translated version, so that it can be accepted as an evidence by the DB partner. And another important point that you'll have to understand is, now NAC is coming out with what is called as the SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, which is available in the NAC portal for various categories of colleges. It is giving the guidelines. What are the guidelines that you'll have to follow while you are trying to fill up your data or giving information for the quality metrics? And it is the responsibility of the colleges to go through the entire operating procedure and understand what is expected to be the answer for a particular metric, and fill the data or give evidences in such a way so that your evidences, your claims are accepted by the DBV partner. And now, as a part of SSR, there is one section called extended profile. Now, NAC is actually asking you to give some answers in such a way that it is to be supported by document evidences. Earlier, that was not the case. Now, even for submission of extended profile, you need to upload certain documents, which is the new conditions now imposed by NAC with effect from 1st January 2020. So the extended profile has the questions which are basically the figures or denominators of the formulas used for calculation of various metric values. See, here again you will be giving certain details. For example, how many staff members do you have? How many students are admitted in the last 5 years? The same data will be also in your SSR. Now, many colleges are giving different numbers in 2 different places. That should not be the case. That's why I make it very clear, while you are dealing with the quantitative metrics, you have to check the accuracy of your data. This is very, very important. What will happen if there are many mistakes? All the mistakes will be asked to be clarified by the DB partner as a query. And if there are more queries, then you won't have enough time for responding to all the queries. And that is why it is the responsibility of the colleges to have only the accurate information to be given as answers to the various quantitative metrics. And there are tooltips at various places in the portal, such as metrics and submetrics, which will be giving you the guidance. You will be guided for submitting all your data. You will be guided from time to time, and you have to strictly follow the guideline so that you don't come across any such problems while you submit your SSR. Now, another important thing which I was telling you repeatedly is that now you have a format. You have an Excel format, and this Excel format may be modified from time to time, and it is your responsibility to check the latest sets of Excel templates while you go for accreditation, and they have to be carefully filled up, and that is another important point that you have to have in mind. Now, the data of student certificate has to be submitted concurrently during the online submission of SSR. See, remember that a new concept has been introduced in the SSR, namely the student satisfaction survey, which will be a random survey of 100 students of your college. Now, in order to carry out this SSS by the agency, all the colleges are expected to give the currently enrolled database of your students. This is to be done not separately, but this is the part of your SSR. Actually, 2.7 is the metrics related to SSS, and you are expected to give the database of all your currently enrolled students, not the one who have passed out. While you go for your accreditation process, at the time of you submitting SSR, who are all the students on the rolls of your college, and you have to give the database so that they will be subjected to a survey called student satisfaction survey. And some of the guidelines will be giving you this red mark asterisk which has to be understood as a mandatory requirement. So wherever you find is the red asterisk, understand that it is compulsory. You have to essentially answer that question. And for metric related to finance, so there are instances related to financial matters of the college. And how do you know that a financial year? Financial is always 1st April to 31st March. And for publication related data, it is related to preceding calendar year, that is 1st January to 31st December. And whenever they use the term current year data, please understand that the current year data means the one last completed academic year is the one which is referred as the current year data. I suggest that, but for the financial year, which is from 1st April to March 31st, for all other purposes, even for your publication, can have academic calendar, academic year, that is June to May may be followed for giving all other details except the financial data. And whenever they use the term current year, please understand that it is referring to the last completed academic year. For example, they may ask you to give the pass percentage of the current year. Now, pass percentage of the current year means the one last completed academic year pass percentage data you have to submit as the answer. This is another new concept that you have to understand in the RAF, geotagging. What is geotagging? See, when you say that you have got 2 seminar halls and 20 smart classrooms, or you have got a sophisticated instrument worth 1 crore in your physics laboratory, how to make sure that actually that 1 crore worth equipment is in your physics laboratory of your own college? In order to ensure that you have that equipment, you are expected to submit a photo using a technique called geotagging. So this is not something that's quite complicated. When you are using a camera or a smartphone, all you have to do is you switch on your location. It may be a digital camera or it may be your smartphone. See, even if you are organizing a webinar, if you are organizing a seminar or a meeting in your association, all you have to do is that you switch on this location either in your digital camera or in a smartphone and take all the photographs or all the videos. And then finally, you upload all these things to your desktop system, your computer, and then you go and click a particular photo, and the right click at the bottom, you'll have the properties. So when you click the properties, you'll get a picture like this, wherein this will give you details about the latitude, longitude, and altitude. So by knowing this, the latitude, longitude, and altitude details, the DV partner will exactly know that you only have that 1 crore worth of equipment in your laboratory, or you had actually conducted the meeting on a specified date, or you had actually visited a village for a consultant, for a field work, or for some consultancy work. So whatever may be the proof that you are required to submit as a photo, it is better that you are having this geotagging mechanism. Now you may ask a question, sir, we have taken a lot of photographs without using the geotagging. Will it be accepted or rejected? It will be accepted as long as all the photographs are countersigned by your principal. Please understand that for more and more of document evidences, you please request your principal to sign the documents. And NAC accepts that the principals won't lie, and it is accepted as the evidence. So if you have taken photographs already without using the geotagging, you can get it signed by your principal and it will be accepted as evidence. But henceforth, if you are want to have any evidence by way of photographs or any video, I suggest that you use this geotagging procedure so that automatically it will be accepted as evidence by the DV partner. This is a new development that you have to have it in mind while you are trying to have evidences by way of photographs or video. Now we actually move into the most important part of the process, namely preparing the SSR. So we are all telling about this SSR has to be submitted. What is this SSR is all about? Say this SSR is having certain components like the executive summary, the profile of the institution, extended profile of the institution, and then this quality indicator framework, QIF, with all the templates and other documents, both qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics. Now, what is this executive summary? See, it was similar to the one that we had earlier, the old format also. You start with the introductory note where you say about your location, vision, mission, and type of the institution, so on. There's some basic information about your college. Then again, you have to give about the criteria-wise summary of the institutions. So there are 7 criteria. Earlier also there were only 7 criteria. Even in the RAF, there are only 7 criteria with some minor nomenclature changes. But for every criterion, you are expected to give a write-up. Earlier, you can write any length of information as for a particular criterion. Now, whatever you want to say for a particular criterion, kindly understand that it has to be not more than 250 words for each criterion. This is another important point that all the colleges have to have in mind. So wherever there are descriptive answers which is expected by you, NAC will imposing a condition, not exceeding 500 words, not exceeding 200 words, and so on. It is strictly to be followed by the colleges while you're responding. So whatever you want to say about each criterion, it has to be said not more than 250 words. And then it is to be followed by a SWOT analysis of the college. What are your strengths? You have to list out what are your strengths, weaknesses, and the opportunities and challenges of the college. Please understand that the SWOT analysis is not referring to the individuals, or it is not referring to any individual departments. It is only the analysis of the whole college, and you have to give only significant points as your strength, as weaknesses, or opportunity challenges. There is a tendency among the colleges to give a long list as a strength and then weakness and so on. Please do some SWOT analysis before you actually go for the accreditation process, and try to understand what are your real strengths, what are real weaknesses, and what are the opportunities and challenges that you really face, and then give only those. The idea is don't have a long list in the SWOT analysis. That is my suggestion. Then it is to be followed by any additional information about the institution other than the one that is already stated. See here, NAC is expecting certain kind of information from you. Now, for example, in the revised accreditation framework, there is no place where you can make about your students getting university rank consistently in the university examinations, or based on the world format, you would have organized more and more number of workshops and seminars. College would have organized even 100 seminars. But there are no places where they're asking about the details about the seminars organized by the colleges, except for the UG colleges. UG accredited colleges, they are expected to give the details. But for all other institutions, they are not asking about the details about the hundreds of seminars that you would have organized. But now you can say that as a college, we had conducted hundreds of seminars involving national and international speakers, and all the things which cannot be part of your answers to the metrics can be given as additional information. And finally, you have to sum up what you are as a college. And please understand that the entire executive summary shall not exceed 5,000 words. So this is a limitation that you have to understand. Your entire executive summary shall not exceed 5,000 words. So here, please understand that all your descriptive answers have to be having the limitation of the responses as specified by the NAC. That is very important. Now, in the profile aptitude colleges, now in the revised accreditation framework, you are expected to answer only for 22 questions, whereas earlier you had to have answer for 35 questions. Now, in the extended profile institutions, again, you have to give the basic details about the various programs offered by you, and the student details about the college, and the faculty details, and finally some details related to the institution. And you will be guided. You will be guided in every stage of you submitting this profile as an extended profile. They will give you what kind of information you are supposed to give, and what kind of document evidences you are supposed to submit for as evidences for the various claims. Now we come to this quality indicator framework, QIF. I told you that the world format had 7 criteria. Even the RAF has only 7 criteria, with some minor changes in the nomenclature. Earlier it was research external consultancy. Now it is called as research innovation extension. The 7th one is earliest innovation best practices. Now it is referred as institutional values and best practices. Otherwise, the criteria remain the same. There are only 7 criteria: curricular aspects, teaching, learning, evaluation, research, innovation, extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, and finally, institutional values and best practices. Now, this SSR is having 2 kinds of information, I told you repeatedly, and they are referred as qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics. And as of now, the SSR will have a total of 96 metrics for a PG affiliated college and 93 metrics for a UG affiliated college, covering all the 7 criteria. So the 7 criteria will have several indicators, and each indicator will have several metrics. Altogether, for a PG affiliated college, there will be 96 questions. A metric is simply referring to a question. So you have to answer for 96 questions if you are a PG affiliated college, and you have to answer for 93 questions if you are an UG affiliated college. Now, there are two kinds of questions. One kind of questions will be expected you to give some kind of data and figures. So if your answer to a particular question is quantify facts and figures as data, then that kind of a metric is called as the quantitative metrics. If your answer is by way of descriptive response, then it is referred as the qualitative metric. So kindly understand that either your answer will be by way of data or by way of description. If it is by way of data, it is called as a quantitative matrix. If it is by way of description, it is called as a qualitative matrix. But what is the ratio? Are they in equal ratio? It is not so. As I pointed in my initial remarks, please understand that as of now, the quantitative matrix is up to 70%, and only remaining 30% will be for qualitative matrix. So there is a clear bias towards the quantitative matrix. That is the major change in the RAF. Unlike the old format, which is a quality-based judgment, the RAF is primarily will be based on the quantity data that you submit as a college. Your grade will be basically decided by the data that you submit, because it is accounting for nearly 70% of the questions, and only remaining 30% of the questions will be evaluated by the peer team when they visit the college. So this will give overall picture about what happens to the various categories of colleges. As I told you now, with effect from 1st January 2020, there are 4 categories of institutions, namely universities, autonomous colleges, and the UG affiliated college and PG affiliated college, or a constituent college. What is a constituent college? Constituent colleges are affiliated to a university. It's a part of the university. They are affiliated as a constituent college. Now, for all the categories, the criteria are only 7, but the key indicators are different from category to category. And as of a PG affiliated college, there are 32 key indicators. As I told you, each key indicator will have several metrics. There are 2 kinds of metrics, and if you have a look at it, you'll find that for a PG college, there are only 36 qualitative metrics, whereas for a PG affiliated college, the quantitative metrics is 60. So almost 2:1. That is the ratio of the quantitative metrics to qualitative metrics. And altogether, if you are a PG affiliated college, you will have to answer for 96 questions, and if you are a UG affiliated college, you will have to answer for 93 questions. And this will give you an overall view about the 7 criteria, namely curricular aspects is for 150 marks for autonomous colleges and universities, whereas it is for 100 marks for affiliated colleges. And the teaching learning evaluation is an important criterion for all the categories of colleges, higher education institutions. And if you are an affiliated college, it will have a significant percentage of 350 marks. Nearly 1/3 of marks will be decided by, more than 1/3 of marks will be decided by your performance in the teaching learning evaluation. Then the third one is the research innovation extension, and this is 110 marks for a UG affiliated college and 120 for a PG affiliated college. And the fourth one is about infrastructure and the learning resources. So what is the physical resources that you have got, and what about your library, what about your IT infrastructure, and computers that are available in the college. So infrastructure is in the 4th criterion. And the 5th one is another important criteria, namely student support and progression. What kind of support the student is getting, both financially and otherwise, so that he or she is able to complete the program in the college. And what happens to your students once they complete the program in your college, and that is coming to about 140 marks for a UG affiliated college and 130 marks for a PG affiliated college. And the 6th one is all about the attitude of the management. What is the pursuit of the management for the next 5 years? What they've done in the last 5 years will account for 100 marks for all categories. And the 7th one is the institutional values and best practices, and that is again uniformly 100 marks for all the colleges. So irrespective of the category, or for all institutions, the grand total final score will be 1000 marks. Now, I intend to discuss about these 7 criteria and the key indicators and their weightages in tomorrow's session. Now, I'll only give the process. Tomorrow, I'll discuss about how to prepare this using these weightages for various key indicators and metrics. Now, this is another important point that you'll have to understand. Namely, while you're trying to answer a particular metric, what is to be taken care of is, if it is a qualitative metric, please understand that NAAC will specify that what kind of information has to be given, and more importantly, how much. This is very important. Say, the answer has to be quite specific and more importantly, not exceeding the limitation of the size. This is very important. And for quantity metrics, you will have to strictly follow the Excel format. That is very important. Many colleges make a mistake of having their own format and thereby going into problems. Please strictly follow the format given by the NAC while you are trying to fill up the data for quantitative metrics, because based on your data, the NAC will be using certain formulae to arrive at certain scores. And another important point is the entire database that you are submitting as a part of the SSR is digitally processed. See, I told you that there is an agency called a DV partner, Data Verification and Validation Partner, who is the interest of the responsibility of processing the entire quantitative metrics. And he will not be employing people to go through the process. Nobody will see your data. Please understand that the entire quantity-based data that you submit will not be seen by any human eyes. It will be simply fed into a system, and using a software, the system will process question by question and allot certain marks for it. So it is very important that you strictly follow the format. If you just make a mistake, for example, if you fill the details for denominator and numerator in other way, then you will get a wrong answer, wrong number, and you stand to lose the marks. So it is very, very important that you fill all the database very accurately as required by the Excel format given by the NAC. And any incorrect data or false details could lead to disqualification or penalty. This is another important point that you'll have to understand. See, for 70% questions, you'll have to answer by way of giving data or some numbers. And you may be tempted, who is going to find out instead of 20 letters, make it 25. Instead of 50 letters, make it 60 or so. So don't do that. Because for all your claims, you are supposed to have document evidences. Suppose if you say that, say 50 students have cleared your net examinations in the last 5 years, then you are supposed to have all the 50 students pass certificates with you as evidences. Then only it may be accepted. Suppose if they subsequently find out that you actually exaggerated the numbers, and if you are not able to subsequently submit suitable evidences, two things could happen to your college. One is, if the offenses of minor nature, they may impose a penalty, and if the offenses of a major one, then you will be disqualified. So it is very, very important that colleges have to understand that as far as possible, you only give accurate information while you are giving your database. And please take it very, very seriously. There are instances where even many of the deemed universities are found to have given wrong information, and they have all been blacklisted. If you go to the NAC portal and look at the results page columns, you will see that once in a while that even universities are getting disqualified by giving wrong information at the time of SSR submission. So please understand that as a college, your reputation at stake. It's better that you don't get accredited instead of getting disqualified by the NAC while the process is going on. So you have to be very, very careful while you are giving your database as a part of SSR, and any wrong information, if it is found out subsequently, will be leading to either a penalty, and it may be ultimately leading to disqualification of the college for further processes. I'll give you one example about how to fill up a database for a quantity metrics and how to respond for a qualitative metrics. See, here is the quantity metrics. QN means quantity metrics. Average enrollment percentage in the last 5 years. You are supposed to give data of how many students are admitted in the last 5 years. See, you have got various programs. For each program, there is a specific number of strength that is sanctioned by the university at the time of you getting the affiliation. And now the NAC wants to know whether you are getting enough number of students for the various programs that you are offering. And the data has to be given for last 5 years. So this is the quantity metrics. And in order to answer for this, NAC is giving you an Excel template. This is how the Excel template would look like. This is exactly the Excel template for you to answer about the enrollment of your students in the various programs in the last 5 years. So here they have clearly given you year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. Now, the first column is program name, the second one is program code, the third one is number of seats sanctioned, and the fourth one is number of students admitted. Now, when you are preparing your database, you would have had program code as the first column and program name as the second column. So you cannot just upload the way you have prepared your Excel format. Then it will be leading to issues. Please understand that this is the format. You learn to modify your data in such a way that it is in line with the Excel template given by the NAC. Any modification in the template will be giving wrong numbers, and then it will be leading to query. So please understand that while you are filling that Excel template, strictly follow the templates. Many colleges, even experienced colleges, they don't understand this important point, and they run into problem, and then they get a lot of queries. So kindly ensure that you strictly follow the Excel template while you are trying to answer to the quantitative metrics. And for qualitative metrics, it is a descriptive. See, for example, you're asked to explain the mechanism of internal assessment is transparent and robust in terms of frequency and mode. So how do you manage your internal assessment, whether it is transparent and healthy one, and it carries 15 marks, and how do you respond to upload a description not more than 500 words? What exactly you do, whatever you may do, and it has to be told not exceeding that 500 words. This is the limitation of size of your response is the most important point that you have to have in mind while you are responding to a qualitative metrics. For all quantitative metrics, you have to give accurate information. For all qualitative metrics, you try to not exceed the limitation of the size of the responses, and that is very important. So these are two important conditions that you have to have in mind while you are preparing your answers to the metrics. Now, here is another important concept that you have to understand before you finally submit your SSR. And this is called the non-applicable metrics. Now, what happens now, NAC is giving 96 questions for a PG college. Now, even in these 96 questions, you may think that there is a question which is not so relevant to you. You think that you have nothing to answer for that particular question because you have nothing to do with the question. And then if you feel that there are certain questions which fall into this particular category where you think that you have nothing to do with it, then you can opt out of the process. And that is why they are called as that non-applicable metrics. So there are provisions to the institutions to opt out some of the metrics which may not be applicable to them for various reasons. For example, there is a question about what is the ratio of guides and students that they are having, the number of faculties and the research guides in a particular department. Now, what may happen now, you may not be a research department, you may have just only undergraduate department, and it is not applicable to you. So you can opt out of that particular metrics. So there are certain metrics which you think is not relevant to you, then you can opt out of them, and these metrics are referred as the non-applicable metrics. But there are certain conditions which you have to understand. Everything cannot be opted out just like that. For example, now the maximum weightage of metrics that can be opted out is only 30 marks. That is up to only 3%. Before 2020, it was 50%. 50 marks or 5%. Up to December 2019, it was 50 marks or 5%. Now it has reduced to 30 marks or 3%. And the metrics is the maximum total weightage of 10 weightage per criteria only can be opted out. So you can opt for about 30 weightages, but all the 30 weightages cannot be done in a single criterion. Within a criterion, a maximum only 10 weightages can be opted out. That is the condition. Earlier it was 20, now it is reduced to 20. And another important point is all metrics in criteria 1 and 2, 7 are essential. Before January, it was only 7 that was essential. Now they have included 2 more criteria, namely criteria 1, 2, 7 cannot be touched. That means only you can play with 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here again, there is important thing is no quality metrics can be opted out. Quality metrics, all the quality metrics are compulsory. You cannot opt out any quality metrics. Now to help the colleges, NAC is giving a list of metrics which can be opted out. For example, for an affiliated PG college, if you refer the manual, the appendix 3 is giving a list of 50 metrics, which are called as the optional metrics. Only anything out of these optional metrics can be opted out by a college. There is a list of 15 metrics, and if you think that a particular metric is not relevant to you, not applicable to you, you can opt out. But that has to be only a maximum of 10 weightages for a particular criterion, and altogether not exceeding 30 weightages in the entire. That is to say, instead of 1,000 marks, a college can go for 970 as the maximum. That is what is as of now. You can opt out up to 30 weightages and then go for only 970. And these are called as non-applicable metrics. Before you make your final submission, you have to opt out and indicate the same to the NAC portal at the time of you making a final submission, which is very important. If you fail to make this option during the final submission, then you'll have to be evaluated only for 1,000 weightages. And this another thing is the mandate disclosure on the institutional website is a very important condition laid by the NAC. So to ensure the transparency in the process of assessment accreditation, it is necessary that the institutions upload the SSR along with all other relevant documents on the institute website. So now you submit your SSR, it will be processed by the DV partner, and once it is finalized, the SSR along with all documentary evidences have to be uploaded in the college website so that anybody can check it. That is what is more important. So your SSR is not a secret document which you only could see it. So that is how people are making a mistake of even protecting the link with a password. It should not be the case. Any stakeholder, even a common man from any part of the world, can have access to your SSR. So it is imperative that all the institutions are uploading the final SSR along with the relevant documents so that anybody can have access to your SSR. So it is mandatory on the part of the institution to have this uploading the SSR in the college website. And NAC is now actually suggesting that you have a separate link or a tab in your college website where you have got the SSR submit online, all the data templates submit along with SSR. And once you are accredited, you will have to submit the annual quality assessment report, and they can also upload in the same link or tab. And whatever is relevant to the accreditation process can be put into the tab or link. And that is what NAC is expecting from all the institutions which are undergoing the accreditation process. Now you have successfully submitted your SSR. Now you enter into the second stage. In the second stage, there are actually 3 things would happen, but now as per the world thing, there are 2 things that are possible, namely the student satisfaction survey and the data verification and validation process by the DV partner. So let us start with the student satisfaction survey. Actually, now the current trend is immediately after you submitting our SSR, immediately the students are getting the message from the NAC that you will be ready for the student satisfaction survey. So the colleges have to be prepared to educate your students about the importance of the student satisfaction survey. And this is very important because there are 60 marks out of the 1,000 weightages for 60 weightages for the student satisfaction survey out of the 1,000 total weightages. So colleges have to educate their students about the significance of the student satisfaction survey. And this survey will have about 20 objective type questions or 1 subjective questions, which is available on the NAC website. And all the questions are reasonable. All the 20 objective type of questions are related to the quality of teaching, the quality of teachers, which is very relevant. And 1 subject type question is asking the students to give their opinion about the kind of infrastructure that is available to them in the college. Whether the physical infrastructure, IT infrastructure, or whether they've got enough classrooms, enough laboratory equipments, library with books and playgrounds. So all the other infrastructures have to be descriptive. That is 1 subject type of question related to infrastructure, and 20 objective type of question related to the quality of teachers in the college. And this will be actually emailed to the students, and the students will be selected at random. If you are a college, only maximum 100 students will be subjected to the student satisfaction survey, and if you are at university, there are 500 students. Now, what is more important is the college have to ensure that there is sufficient responses from your students. Don't worry about your students giving either positive remarks or negative remarks about you. That is secondary. What is more important is you should ensure that there is minimum number of your students who are responding to the survey. Otherwise, you stand to lose all the 60 marks. Please understand that student satisfaction survey is a critical input of you at the time of you submitting your SSR. You are expected to submit all the currently entered database of your students at the time of your submitting your SSR, and NAC will randomly select 100 students. It will be UG student, PG student, boys, girls, day scholar, housemates, club secretary, and so on. It is a random selected students, but what is important from the point of view of college is that you ensure that there is a minimum response from your students. Otherwise, you stand to lose all the 60 marks. Typically, the question will be English. It is also in Hindi. But if it has to be translated in regional languages, it can be done by the colleges, and so that students can understand what is the question and what are the various options available to them for a particular question. So this is how the student study survey will be done. Initially, about 30% of the students will be, actually at the time of you submitting, you are expected to submit about at least 50% of the students who are enrolled, out of which 30% students will be initially subjected to a survey by sending the email. And the students, once they receive the email, they will activate the links, and then they will log in and they respond to the very 20 questions, subjective questions and one subjective questions. And the NAC will intimate the NAC coordinator, the IQC coordinator, that now the student study survey is going on. You ask your students to check their mails. Please understand that the survey will not be done through WhatsApp. It will not be done over phone. It will be done only through the email. So while you are giving the database of the students, what is important is you ensure that you are giving a functional email ID of your students to which they know the username and the password. This is very important. That is how the college run into problem. You cannot just rely on the email ID which is suggested by the student. Now nobody is using the email. Everybody is using only the WhatsApp. The students in particular, they will not use the email very often. So while you give the database of the students, you ensure that you are only giving a functional email ID for which the students know the username and the password, because the survey will be done only using the email and no other way by which it will be carried out. So what is more important is, as I told you, if there is not any sufficient response in the first attempt, you will be intimated that there is no enough responses from your students. We will again ask some other students to respond. So there is a second set of students who will be receiving the email from the agency, and again you have to inform the student that now you look for email from the agency regarding the student study survey, and finally you have to ensure that there is enough response from your students to the student study survey. Otherwise, you stand to lose all the 60 weightages. Now, there is another agency called the DVV partner. The DVV partner is the one who will be processing the entire quantity database that you submit as a part of your SSR. So what he will do is, he will try to identify deviation, how far your data is deviating. So there is a number that you will give as a response. So you are supposed to give document evidences to the number that you are suggesting. NAC, this DV partner, will check the number and check the evidences. Suppose if he is not satisfied with the evidences, then that will be rejected by the DV partner. So that is called the deviation. The deviation is referring how far you are not able to support document evidences. So all your claims have to be supported by document evidences. And if the DV partner is not happy with your evidences, it is deviation. So he will have a long list of deviations. How far you are deviating from the response number that you have suggested. And then at the end of the process, he will submit a report to the institution, to the college, that these are all deviations. These are all queries. In general terms, you can call them as queries. So these are all deviations from the number that you have suggested. We are not happy with the evidence that you have suggested. You provide more information or more evidences. Now, this is very important that within 14 days, as of now, you will be given only 2 weeks time to respond to the queries, not more than that. So within that 14 days of time, it is your responsibility to give more evidences. You have to respond, basically you have to respond. So what will happen if you are not responding? If you are not responding to the DV query, then NAC will assume that you are withdrawing from the process. Please understand that. It is your responsibility to respond. You say give more information, more evidences, or you say that you simply accept the number that you have suggested. Somehow you have to respond to the DVV queries from the DV partner. If you just keep silent that let them do whatever they want, NAC will assume that you are withdrawing from the process. What it means? It means that you are out of the process. The money that you paid, the whole hard work that you have done for months together is a waste. And again, you have to start afresh by submitting the IAQA. So please understand that whenever you get these queries from the DV partner, after the process is over, you have to respond within 2 weeks of time, and then DV partner will now check it again. This is called the second level of verification. And once the second level of verification is over, then the final report will be submitted by the DV partner to the NAC. So this is what is called the SGS. Remember that the score called system generated score will be submitted by the DV partner after process of your data. So in order to arrive at the SGS, these are the various stages. You submit your data, that will be processed, digitally processed by the DV partner. And for any particular metric, you have to provide all the document evidences. If they are not happy with the evidence, it is a deviation. So at the end of processing, there is a list of deviations which will be sent back to you, and you are expected to respond. If you are not responding, it means that you are not continuing the process, and it will be assumed that you are out of the process, and you'll have to start again a fresh starting from submitting the IAQA. So once you submit your further evidences, it will be checked for the second time by the DV partner, and final report will be submitted to the NAC by way of a score called SGS. So this is very important. Now, how long the partner will take process your data? Typically, it will be done within 30 days time. Depending upon their workload, it has to be done within 30 working days. So the entire quantity database that a college submit will be digitally processed by the DV partner by not taking more than 30 days. And during this process, as I told you, suppose if they come across any wrong information or data, you'll be asked to give explanation. And it is mandatory that you respond suitably. Otherwise, your application will be rejected. This is very important. This is very, very important. So you have to essentially respond to the deviations report submitted by the DV partner suitably, so that you are considered to be in the process of accreditation. Otherwise, your accreditation process will be rejected. And you will not be given more than 2 weeks time. As of it is set as 10 days, but as of now, it is 14 days time that is given by the DV partner to respond to the deviation report. So you have to respond within the time. And as I told you, except in unforeseen situations as we are now in the COVID-19 situation where it is postponed, everything is now postponed for the information colleges which already got accredited. Now you could submit your AQR till October 2020. Now earlier it was March. Now then they said it was June. Now there is a latest communication from the NAC wherein you have time to submit your AQR, which are not submitted so far, up to October 2020. So, except in the case of natural calamities and political disturbances and other situations, you are expected to respond within a suitable time frame and respond to the DV report submitted by the DV partner. If you are not submitting to the DV clarification process, as I told you, your process will be terminated, and it is said that you'll have to wait for 1 year before you submit your IAQ again. So the process will be terminated from the end of a NAC if you are not responding. And if you want to go through the accreditation process again, you'll have to wait for 1 more year. So this is a very critical information the college has to understand. So don't ignore the DVD report submitted by the DV partner. Even if you are not able to substantiate with this additional information, you somehow respond and give a report so that they accept the lesser number, and then ultimately you get some SGS score and go ahead with the process. Simply keeping quiet on your part will be leading to rejection of your application. And if you want to go through the process again, you'll have to wait for 1 year. So please understand that essentially you'll have to respond to the DV report submitted by the DV partner. And this is another important point that you have to understand. See, at the end of the digital process, there is a score. This is called the system generated score. Why it is called the system generated score? Because it is the system, it is the computer software that is generated score. No human being is involved in arriving at the score, because nobody will actually see your data. The entire database will be simply fed into the system, and system process step by step for each matrix, come out with the score, and the final score is called the SGS score. It is excluding the student study survey, which is for 60 marks, and within that excluded SGS, you should have a minimum of 25%. And this only will make you eligible to the next stage where you can expect a peer team. So this is why it is called as a pre-qualified stage. This is a pre-qualified. Only when you get to 25% of SGS, you are qualified to have a peer team. Suppose if you are not able to have that minimum of 25%, then what will happen to you is you are eligible to apply again only after 6 months from the day of declaration of the pre-qualification status. So you somehow fail to have a minimum of 25%, then what is the, it means that again you'll have to start fresh. They remember you should submit your responses, otherwise you have to start new. And if you are failing to have the minimum of 25%, again you'll have to start new with submitting IAQA. But if you fail to respond, you have to wait for 1 year. If you fail to score 25%, you have to wait for 6 months. But this is very important that you respond and go ahead with the process, and you get minimum of 20%. So again, you go ahead with the process. So these are two important critical information that the college have to understand, so that you now enter into the third stage. Third stage is where you are expecting the peer team. So the assessment and final evaluation certificate is done in the third stage, and the assessment now is to be done by a peer team. So the peer team visit will be organized within 30 days from the date of clearing the pre-qualified stage. So the DV partner will communicate that this is the SGS score of a college, and the NAC NAC executive committee will meet, and then they will communicate to the college that now you are pre-qualified for peer team visit. You suggest two sets of possible dates for the peer team visit, and within 30 days of time, you let actually plan your peer team visit. Now, please understand that the visiting team's role would be specific in the revised model, limited only to qualitative metrics. So now, since 70% of marks are already decided by two agencies, one agency is the DV partner, the other agency is the SSS. So these two people have decided nearly 70% of your marks. Only about 30% of marks related to quality metrics will be decided by the peer team. And the peer team will be playing an important role in reviewing only the intangible aspects of qualitative metrics. Now, NAC will not pre-disclose the details of the visiting teams, and only about 3 to 4 days ahead of the actual date of the visit, you will get information from the NAC that this is the composition of your team. And again, in the latest developments, you are not expected to have any headache about looking for a lodge or a hotel for the visiting team and so on. Now everything is the headache of a NAC. Of course, you have to pay with a lot of money for the third part of the stage, and now it is the responsibility of a separate team under the NAC for taking care of all the logistics related to the visit by the peer team. So you don't worry about looking for a hotel and looking for all of the things, but local hospitality to be taken care by the college concerned at the time of the peer team visit. The peer team is essentially to look up the qualitative metrics, because the quantitative metrics are already decided. Now the peer team has to prepare a report at the end of the peer team visit, and there are 4 sections. Namely, they'll give a general information of the college, and then they will actually give a criteria-wise report about the individual criteria, qualitative descriptive assessment report, and then they will also give overall analysis about the institutional strength, weakness, and opportunity challenges. And finally, as usual, they will make about trend recommendations which has to be done, followed by the college before they go for the next accreditation. So these are the various sections in the peer team report, and that will be again prepared by the peer team at the end of the peer team visit, and they will send it to the NAC. Now what happens is, now already in the second stage, 2 scores are arrived at. One is the SGS score, another one is the SSS score. Now in the third stage, the peer team has visited, and they will also send a score to the NAC. Now NAC is having 3 sub-scores. So now what they will do is, all the 3 sets of score will be again fed into a system, and the final score will be generated by software. So this is again another important point to be understood by the institutions. Unlike the old format where the final score is decided by the peer team, now the final score will not be decided by any human being, and it will be again decided by a software where all the 3 scores will be pulled together, and the final score will be flashed out by the system that this is the grade of a particular college. And this will be communicated to the college by a document, and it has the responsibility of the college to display the NAC certificate in the college website, and it will be also available in the portal of the NAC. And this is what is ultimately the grades are arrived at. And this is actually the grade sheet of a college which has got a A plus. And now here there are 7 criteria, and each criteria has got weightages. Remember that the total weightage is 1000, but here they were assessed only for about 960 weightages. That is to say, here for the curricular aspects, it was maximum was 100. So 20 marks they opted out. So at that time it was 50. At the time it was 50. So they opted for about 36 marks, and they were evaluated assessed only for 960 weightages. And you look at the next column where it is said that criterion-wise weightage grade points. What is this criterion-wise weightage grade points? So for each metric, when the peer team comes or when the review partner is assessing the particular metric for quantity metrics, they will be assessing on a 5-point scale. For each metric, they will assess on a 5-point scale: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is called as a criterion-wise weighted grade point, and that will be multiplied by that number, and that will be how you are getting this criterion-wise weighted grade point. And then they'll also find out the average as the grade, and then they'll all be summed up, and then the final score will be arrived at. Since they got the 3.38, this college has got a A plus. For example, see here for the curricular planning and implementation, the key indicator weightage is 20, but the key indicator wise weightage is 8. So they got the maximum 4. So 20 into 4, they got 80 weightages. But here it is 30, and they got only 100 means because of quantity metrics, it will not be in whole figures, but they could only get 100 marks and 100 weightages. Similarly, for curriculum enrichment, it was not 30 into 3, it was 95. So this is how the key indicator-wise weighted grade points will be arrived at for a particular criterion. And similarly, they'll have the criterion-wise, key indicator-wise weighted grade point for all 7 criteria, and they all will be summed up, and then the final grade will be arrived at. And this is the new grading system. This is the new grading system. Now, once they introduce this revised framework, the NAC understands that it is very difficult for the colleges to have A grade, A plus, or A plus plus. So they actually modified only the range of institutional cumulative grade point average for A grade alone. Earlier, you have to have 3.76 to 4 to get A plus plus. Earlier, in the old format, you have to have 3.76 and above to have A plus plus. Now it is reduced to 3.51. Similarly, 3.01 to 3.25 it is A, 3.26 to 3.5 it is A plus, and anything above 3.51 it is 4. So even to get a minimum C grade, you should have a minimum of 1.51 as a CGPA. Suppose what happens if a college is not having that minimum of 1.51, then the report will say that you were assessed but not accredited. So a college has to have a minimum of 1.51 CGPA to get any grade. If it is not that way, NAC will give a report that the college was assessed but not accredited. And understanding the complex nature of the revised accreditation framework, only the range of institutional cumulative grade point average of A grade were modified in the latest development carried out by the NAC. So this is actually giving you the final picture of a grading and accreditation. So all the 3 marks are pulled together, and the system has generated the final score, and now that will be communicated to the institution. Now what will happen now? If you are not happy, with the grade that you got, you have the provision to go for appealing within a month of declaration. So within a month of declaration of the results, the college has the right to go for appeal that you are not happy with the grade that you got. And if you are happy with the grade that you got, then for the next 5 years, you have to submit your AQR every year as mandatory conditions of all the accredited colleges. Suppose if you are not happy with your grade, but you also don't want to go for appeal, you can wait for 1 year and go for what is called as the reassessment. It is called as the reassessment, but it has to be done after 1 year, but not before completing the 3 years. Now I find that few colleges are going for this reassessment. They're not gone for appealing, but they go for reassessment. But to my knowledge, when you go for appeal, mostly it won't work. Mostly it won't work. But this reassessment, only a few colleges have just started going for reassessment, and you have to see what happened to them. But by and large, the grade that you got at the end of the process will be not modified to a great extent. And once you are accepting your grade and you are supposed to submit your AQR so that you become eligible for your next accreditation process. Kindly understand that submission of AQR is mandatory. Only if you are submitting AQR, you become eligible for the next cycle of accreditation. And one more thing is, normally the accreditation is valid for 5 years. Normally, accreditation is valid for 5 years. Suppose if a college is too good, consistently getting A plus or A plus plus, the last accreditation, and in the present accreditation also they get A plus or A plus plus, the conditions are slightly modified. But if you are too good, then the validity is not for 5 years, it is for 7 years. For example, colleges like St. Teresa's College, Ernakulam, their validity is 7 years. So if you are too good, you can have a 7 years validity. Otherwise, the period of accreditation validity is only for 5 years, at the end of which the college is supposed to go for the next accreditation process. Now, finally, what are the steps to be taken by the colleges? So now you have understood the complex nature of the process. So one way that you can go and face this accreditation process is strengthening of the efficacy. So this is the one way. Hello? Somebody is interfering, sir. Hello? Hello?
Sir, we will ask the participants to please switch off their microphones.
This is the final slide. This is actually the final slide. This is my final slide. Actually,
UGC NetBR English, please switch off your microphone.
This is my final slide. Hello. Hello, this is my final slide for information. So what are the steps to be taken by the colleges? See, the one definite way that you can actually have a better performance is strengthening of IKC by way of infrastructure and human resources. See, this is a very important step to be taken by the colleges. So IKC is the nerve center of a college, which has to be worked 24/7. So unlike the old practice of you having a 10/10 room, one assistant, one system will not work. This IKC has to be strengthened to a large extent if you really want to get a better score or better grade. And the IKC coordinator should have another 7 to 10 years of service. That is another important thing. In many colleges, I find that a senior most staff member is appointed as IKC coordinator, and before at the time of actual process, she would have retired or he would have retired. Somebody is given the responsibility and he will not know what to do. So please ensure that when you begin a cycle, you appoint someone as IKC coordinator who will be able to be there to complete the cycle. This is very important. Another important thing that has to be taken care of is documentation of the activities is very important. So now you understand that any claim that we make has to be supported by document evidences. Unless you provide the document evidences, it will not be accepted. So documentation is the key for success, and it has to be given by top priority. And finally, institutions have to explore the means of getting more MOUs, more projects, more funds. That is very important. You should have more functional MOUs, more interaction with industries, more projects to get funds from the funding agencies. And another important thing is you have to have more of value-added programs. Add-on programs, certificate programs are another important point to be considered. Don't be just content with your regular curriculum, regular programs. Try to have many more add-on programs and certificate programs involving more students, and that will get you more marks in the curriculum designing. And finally, you please understand that if you're a PG department, the benchmark is that your students getting clear of the net SLET examination is the new benchmark. You just don't say that we are giving coaching classes. Nobody bothers whether you're giving coaching classes or not. What is important is that you let ensure that all your students are consistently clearing this net SLET and other civil service examinations, and that is the new benchmark. So these are some of the steps to be taken by the colleges. But the key point that we have in mind is that documentation of all your activities is very important. All your activities have to be recorded as and when they happen. Anything that happens, the college has to be done with the knowledge of the IKC. Immediately has to be informed to the IKC with the suitable evidences, so that ultimately you are able to document all your activities. See, it is the activities for 5 years, and it has to be kept in such a way that at the end of the 5 years, you are in a position to have all the documentary evidences so that all your claims will be accepted. So these are some of the steps to be taken by the colleges for a successful outcome in the accreditation process. I think that's all. Thank you. And I request all the participants to note down my email ID and WhatsApp number for any specific queries or your feedback. Feel free to contact me either through my WhatsApp number or through my email ID. Thank you very much for your time. All the best to all of you. Thank you very much. Madam, I have finished my presentation. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for the very informed, lucid, and detailed presentation. I'm sure the participants would agree with me if I say that sitting through the delay caused by the technical snag was more than worth it. I once again remind the participants to submit your feedback and also type out any questions you may want to ask in the chat box. Because of paucity of time, the organizers would pick and choose, read out only selected questions. Do bear with us. Meanwhile, Selvam sir, the participants have to ask you if you could share the slide with us.
Okay, it's not patented, sir. It's not patented. You could actually anybody you can have it. No problem. No problem. No problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Now we move on to the questions. Surat Nayak, Tagore Government Arts College, Puducherry. His question I'll just read out. What about the career advancement scheme in colleges for NAC accreditation?
What? I don't get his question. What is it?
I repeat it. I repeat. What about career advancement scheme? How is it connected? I believe that's what he wants to ask to NAC accreditation. Career advancement scheme. How is it NAC accreditation?
There is no such thing about the career advancement scheme in the colleges, no? Does he mean about the placement? What about it? Hello?
If Mr. Surat Nayak, are you there? If you're there, could you clarify your question?
Is it related to placement by the college for the students?
Pardon?
Whether he is referring to the placement done by the college?
I think he is referring to the placement, the career advancement scheme in colleges. Does it?
See, actually, that is very important. Now, actually, what happens now when we are suggesting that we are having career counseling classes and coaching classes for the students, it should reflect in performances. So it is very important that every year the placement cell is supposed to produce a report telling about how many students were given the coaching classes, how many students were ultimately recruited, and all the strategies. Actually,
okay,
sir, what I suggest, Anup sir, if there are any queries, please request the participants to contact me either through mail or my WhatsApp number, and I'll be glad to definitely to clarify the doubts for one of time and also for one of the interactions, because there are I'm not able to clearly hear their questions. If there is any other queries, actually I'm ready to talk to them. But hello.
So should I read out a couple of more questions that are there, or would you like that?
No. If there are, let them ask. Please read out, sir. Read out, sir. Read out. No problem.
So there's a question from Raghu Yuvraj from Vinayaka Missions Research Foundation, Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Are there any examples for innovative teaching methods?
Good question, sir. Actually, no. It's up to your imagination as a teacher. See, I used to give an example. Say you are a commerce teacher and you are teaching about the banking system in the country, but how many of your students actually know how to take a draft? So if you really take a survey, you will find that most of your students, they do not visit actually bank and they do not have knowledge about how to take a draft. So what we can do now, we can actually take your students to a bank and try to learn how exactly the banking system works, how to open an account, how to take a draft. So these are what is called the innovative methodology. And this is actually taking the student to the field. So for every subject, it's up to the imagination of the teacher. I used to tell one example that this is an example. So, for example, if you are teaching say economic survey, so what you can do now as an economics department, there is a village and there is a scheme by the government. The villages are eligible, but not everybody. So as a department, what you can do now, you can go to the village, you can involve the students, go and take a survey about among the villages who are all eligible for the scheme, and you liaise between the government and the villages. You get the applications from the eligible villages, forward to the agency, and help the villages to get in the scheme. That is the methodology. So teachers can actually be imaginative, and they can use any kind of teaching methodology. There is no specific rules that you should follow this. So now what happens is the tendency is that we have got this PowerPoint presentation, but it is not the only way. You can use it. It's up to the individual teachers to find out what is suitable for the teacher to explain a particular concept. I think I have answered to some extent to his question. Hello?
Okay. Thank you, sir. So this is from Dr. P. Praveen Kumar, Presidency College, Chennai. His question is, does the NAC committee send a list of students to the college to whom the email is sent for response?
No. Actually, I am happy that I am an alumnus of Presidency College way back 75 to 77. I am happy to have someone from Presidency College, Chennai. So for your answer, to answer you, the list will not be sent to the college. It's a random survey. It is secretly done. Nobody will know who are the students who are involved in the survey. It will be randomly selected students, sir, and nobody will know about who are all in the list. The college will not be intimated about the list of students who will be subject to the SSS. It is secretly done by the agency.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So this is a question from the IQAC, our own IQAC Bishopmoor College. So our question is, colleges affiliated to universities have limitations in starting new courses, both self-financing and
yes.
How can colleges compensate for such a limitation?
Yes, you are asking a very pertinent question, sir. What I suggest now, you cannot start any new program without getting affiliation from the university. That is there. But what every department can think of is, you can start as many as certificate programs, for which you will not actually get any approval from the university. Now, NAC is saying that you can start your add-on programs or certificate programs with certain guidelines, basic guidelines. See, any certificate program that a department is introducing should have a minimum of 30 conduct classes. 30-hour conduct class has to be minimum. And you should have a syllabus. You should have a qualified faculty. And you should have attendance register. You should have evidences for conducting classes, conducting examinations. And you have to have the final examinations. And you can issue certificates under your own seal and have 5 copies of the certificate. This is the minimum guidelines that is expected for a department to offer a certificate program. So if you follow these guidelines, you can have any certificate program. Now, what I suggest is, every department should come out with more and more of these add-on programs of shorter duration. For example, if you have got this mathematics for competitive examinations, mathematics department can come out with a certificate program for about 3 months duration of minimum 30-hour conduct classes. And this can be thrown open to anybody in the college, because whoever may be going for competitive examinations, they have to have a basic knowledge about mathematics. So now the advantage is, you can have these classes 3 to 4 times in a year, involving more number of students. Now NAC wants more number of programs involving more number of students. So by having more of add-on programs, you can compensate the loss that you may not be able to have any new regular programs. In fact, when a college is having more of add-on programs, definitely it's a plus point. It's a plus point. That too, when it is of general nature and when more students are involved, it's better that you'll get more marks in the accreditation process. So you will have to think of starting more of add-on programs or certificate programs. Every department can come out with some kind of program, some kind of certificate programs, and it can be thrown open to not only to their own students, but as far as possible, even to other students. For example, mushroom culture can be trained to anybody. Cherry culture, pisciculture. So there are a lot of certificate programs which may be thrown open to many students, and the departments have to come out with such kind of programs. But what is more important is, you should have a minimum 30-hour conduct classes, qualified faculty. See, I cannot teach yoga. Suppose if you are offering yoga, you should have a yoga master who is qualified. So qualified faculty has to be there, and you have to maintain register, have the all the records, conduct the final examinations, issue certificates under your own seal, and then you have to maintain 5 copies. That is enough. That is enough.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. The next question is from Suresh Kumar, Bharati Darshan Government College, Puducherry. His question is, in one of the criterions, the demand ratio is needed, as that's one of the criterion. How can a college which admits through common admission committee constituted by the government for colleges under it can calculate this? There is no separate application in an individual college or an individual department.
No. Now in the revised format, in the latest guidelines, they are not asking the demand ratio, sir. They are only ensuring whether you have filled up all the seats. Now in the latest guidelines, which is now in force, they are not asking about the demand ratio for a particular program. All they want to know is you are offering certain number of programs. For each programs, you are having certain number of sanctioned strength of seats. Are you having enough number of students for the various programs? That is what is now given. They are not asking the demand ratio now.
Okay, sir. So the next question is from Muthu Kumar, VR Government College for Women, Puducherry. The question is there a standard format for students, employees, alumni feedback, or should we decide on our own?
No, actually, it's up to the college. There is no definite format or any instruction given by the NAC. You can design your own questionnaire for getting the feedback from your own students and alumni and industry. There is no specific questionnaire which is suggested, but you have to see that it is comprehensive. By carrying out a single survey, you should be able to get the feedback from the students related to the teaching quality, infrastructure available, and all other things. That would be better. But there is no specific questionnaire suggested by the NAC or any body. It's up to you. You can design your own questionnaire.
Okay, sir. This is the last question as of now for Surat Naik from Tagore Government Arts College, Puducherry wants to know whether faculty promotion is the criteria for NAC.
Actually, faculty promotion, in fact, that is again an important question. The thing is, if you make a serious analysis of this accreditation process, you will understand that the faculty are the key people. This is the beauty of this process, no? Unlike the old format, please understand that it is the faculty of a college who are the key people in seeing that the college gets a good grade or not. So all the various metrics are ultimately ensuring that the teachers are better equipped to meet the new challenges. See, in my days as a teacher, I was only expected to go to the class and teach and complete my syllabus and ensure that most of my students are getting through. Now, the colleges in India are going through a transitional phase wherein the teacher is have to play multiple roles. See, if you look at the demands of the NAC, a teacher cannot be just content with just go to the class and teaching and completing the syllabus. He is expected to get funds from the funding agencies. He is expected to guide the students for getting the doctoral degrees. He is expected to act as a consultant. He is also expected to be involved in the extension activity. So the teachers are the key people in the revised accreditation framework suggested by the NAC. And you have to equip yourself. You have to understand the various demands of the present system and equip yourself so that ultimately you are improving as a teacher and your college is also having a better quality of teaching in the college. Definitely it is towards equipping the teachers in a better way, because there are weightages for teachers to have the PhD, 20 marks for teachers with more of PhDs in a college. So that is encouraging that the teachers who are not with PhDs, they will essentially to go get PhDs. And there are marks for those with the PhD to go for guideship. How many students you are guiding? There are marks for that. So you cannot just be content just by acquiring a PhD. Once you become a doctorate, you have to become a guide, and you see that you are getting funds from the funding agencies, you are publishing papers, and thereby college is getting marks. You are guiding the students, and thereby college is getting marks. So there is always need for a teacher to improve, and there is this new methodology of accreditation process is actually ensuring that the teachers will be going to become better and better. That's what I would suggest.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. With that, we come to the end of the questions. And from the feedback that we have, sir, your session was an overwhelming success. Thank you very much for the very detailed presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
For the participants, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Participants, Selvam sir's session tomorrow also. Tomorrow he'll talk on strategies for the 7 criteria of revised accreditation framework. We shall begin at sharp 11 o'clock tomorrow. See you all then. Thank you very much, Selvam sir, once again on behalf of the IQA College Mavelikara. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See you then. Thank you. Bye.
മെറിൻ എന്തെങ്കിലും മീറ്റിംഗ് ഉണ്ടോ ഇനി നമുക്ക്? ഹലോ
സർ, മീറ്റിംഗ് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നല്ലോ. മീറ്റിംഗ് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞ ഉടനെ
മെറിൻ മാം, ലിനറ്റ് മാം, രഞ്ജിത്ത് സർ.
സർ, വേറെ അടുത്ത ഒരു ലിങ്ക് എല്ലാവരും ഓൺലൈൻ നിന്നാൽ മതി. We will send a link, another link now.
Okay.
If it's there, Rajit sir.
ലിനറ്റ് മാം, ഇതിനകത്ത് തന്നെ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ലയോ?
If all the participants are leaving soon, we can do it.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Paranja, sir.
Are we meeting on this link itself or?
I think the participants are confused. There's a question asking about which meeting. This meeting is only of the IQ College.
Yeah.
I think, sir, we'll go for another link.
We'll go for another link. Okay. Merin, can you send another link?
Yes, sir. I think Lynette Miss will send now. She's on it.
Okay, we'll exit from this.
Another link is sent now. Another link has been sent.
Sergeant sir, we can use the new link, sir. Dear IQAC members, we are using another link for this meeting. Please join there.